as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, hey, hey.
Joining me now is Georgina Shaw of Shaw Marketing Services, a very, very familiar face and name in Marbella, and with good reason. Georgina, welcome back to the programme.
Thanks for having me, Nicole. It seems like a long time since we've got together in person anyway.
It has. A lot of social media, which is really nice.
Yeah.
In fact, we've just been comparing children and grandchildren, how they've grown.
No, it's not all bad, social media. It's good to keep up with things.
It is, but also you've been doing some great videos and posts on social media. It's really nice how you share your knowledge. A lot of people don't like to share what they know. They keep it all to themselves.
Yeah.
And yet you do. You're very generous with your
you.
tips and tricks for getting yourself out there.
Well, I think, you know, especially at the moment, people are really struggling to think about what they can do. Obviously, any plans that they had in place are going to be out of the window, most of them. A lot of people are feeling a little bit desperate. So I think now there's the time to be generous and to give the tips. And, you know, I've always felt like if I can help people get over just that initial bump and start to make money, then it's going to be long-term good for their business and long-term good for mine as well, because then hopefully they'll come back to me when they're in a better position.
Exactly. If people realise that they picked those tips up and where they got them from.
Exactly.
Which is really nice. We would just go back to lockdown a minute. You're such a calm person, and I always say that one of my favorite things about you is how organized you are and your lists.
Oh, so many lists.
I mean, it's perfect because everything's got to be in lists. And when you were flustered in lockdown with schoolwork, I have to say it's horrible to have joy out of someone else's pain, which is the same when my granddaughter cries when I leave. It's like, oh, which is awful.
No, I know.
But for you, I know that it was quite a challenge, and they were really good because you actually contacted the school.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring it up so other parents have children in Spanish schools, and if you find yourself like you were just like, I think a lot of people were finding it hard to cope.
We were stuck, we were frustrated, as you said, flustered, and I think that it was important to me to share that I wasn't doing that well, because I saw a lot on social media of everybody going, oh yeah, we're all doing great, I'm so blessed to be with my family. Whereas the reality was I felt that the vast majority of people were struggling. And I think if we raise an issue and we say it's okay not to be okay, like they say with mental health, but in any situation like that, then we can share solutions. And as you said, we actually kind of got to breaking point, and my husband sent an email to the teacher and just went, help, we can't cope. And she came up with a solution for us. Now, it won't always be the case, but I think it's good to know that you are able to say, you know, time out, I'm struggling, can you help me? And then, you know, mums networks can get together and help, things like Cost of Women, but also then the school as well.
It is important, I think. I mean, you brought up mental health, and it's particularly a very delicate time at the moment. I mean, I hear so many horror stories of people who can't cope and have gone to the limit, that I think admitting our weaknesses is actually a strength.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I can't cope, I don't know what I'm doing. Someone help, particularly at a time like this when everybody is going through unexpected situations.
Completely. And I think the trouble with always wanting to be strong and always wanting to look good amongst your peers is you can gloss over something that actually is a problem for yourself, but also, and often more dangerously, you can make the person that you're talking to feel inferior and like they're alone. Whereas if you just are honest and say, oh my God, you know, my son's a nightmare, or I'm struggling with this, or, you know, in coronavirus terms, my business is not doing that well, other people will go, okay, I'm all right then, neither is mine, and we can get there together.
Definitely. Hashtag better together.
Better together.
Stronger together, working together, whichever what you want to do.
Absolutely.
But it is definitely to pull together. For the rest of the year, obviously you've got your regular clients, and you do a lot of mentoring, you do a lot of talking, public speaking. What is your personal passion? Of all the things you do, what is the thing that you most enjoy of the things you do?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I think it's probably teaching. It's probably the teaching and training, which is why the videos that you brought up earlier have been such a pleasure to do over lockdown, because I have been able to still teach even though I haven't been able to get in front of people. And I think that for me, I used to be a TEFL teacher teaching English, and that immediate thing where you get that aha moment and people go from confused to, oh, I understand, and they get that passion, that just gives me so much adrenaline, and I just love the sort of performance aspects of it as well.
It's nice. It's very satisfying,
Yeah,
isn't it? To
it
see
really
that you've
is.
actually, because you can actually see the difference.
Yeah.
What are the things that people seem to struggle with most? Because I think a lot of people don't know what they don't know.
Very true. Very true. And I think that we're in a great, wonderful age of information. So it's all out there. But as you said, if you're not aware what it is that you're lacking, it can be difficult to go there. So I think it's always good to start from the basics. Obviously, our job is marketing, and so we're always thinking about that communication. But people kind of jump forward, okay, what ad should I have? Rather than thinking, okay, who's my target market? For example, who am I actually trying to sell to? What's my USP? Why am I actually better?
What's a USP?
Unique selling points.
Okay, thank you.
So why am I
It's
better?
Professional lingo and jargon.
It's basically a differentiating point. And people can skip that and run to the get my name out there without then thinking that. And then if you don't have the basis, your messaging is going to be weak. So I like to try with training as much as possible to give lots of different options for training, but also go into businesses and sort of work with the team to sort of pick out what the issue is amongst the team members, and especially with sort of solopreneurs when they have to be wearing all the hats, to sort of try and get from them, if they got these one or two little new skills, how much further that would push them forward. And that's very satisfying for me and useful for them.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject, marketing, because particularly in a city like Marbella with 147 plus nationalities, I think a lot of people want to address to all of them. And as you say, maybe sometimes it's just pick your target, be specific,
So
and
true.
go for one.
That's why you say that's just such a good point locally, that, you know, we've all met estate agents that say, I need my website in 20 languages. And you say, well, do you have people that speak those 20 languages in your office? Oh, no, but we can stick it in Google Translate. And I said, no. By all means, do it in multilingual languages if you have multilingual team members. But if you don't set yourself up for a fail, and also make all your work 10 times more complicated.
It's funny you bring up the translations, because Barbara of Marbella Translators is coming on later in the week. And one of the things that I always say when a practice is, don't do your own translations. So many people say, oh, Nicole, you're English, translate this for me. And even though I speak fluent Spanish and English, you do need a professional to do it, because it's better not to have another language if you're not going to do it right. Because you just give yourself a bad image, and then you lose a potential client.
People used to say to me, can you do translations into Spanish? And I said, no, I can do them into English, but it will be a rewrite, not a translation. Whereas a translation company are just brilliant at that absolutely precise, equal, really proper translation. Whereas we will like editorially craft something into that language so that it's natural. But I know in a million years I could never do that in Spanish, so I leave that to Teresa.
No, but it's like, even I'm majored in English and I love the language. But I think it's a big responsibility when you translate, because you're giving that person's image. And it needs to be done properly. So taking on that responsibility when it's not your job is a tough thing.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the variety of services you give, because you have a variety of clients that have nothing to do with one or the other, and yet there always is the common denominators.
Yes. So we're a full service marketing agency, and what that means is we do everything to do with marketing, because what you and I know is somebody doesn't want to deal with 10 different people for 10 different things. They just want to deal with you, and then you sort the rest out. So we do everything from the initial sort of branding, marketing strategy and planning, all the way through to advertising, buying, design, websites, social media, the training that we mentioned. And then what we're very well known for is the PR side of things as well. So getting our clients into the media and generally getting them out to the community.
It's nice. I have to say, a lot of places I've been to, I would never have gone to if you hadn't have, you know, pushed it, because you do, you present it in a way that makes it sound exciting.
Well, I'm excited by everything. That's why you and I get on so well. We're just excited by everything.
We like what we do. If you like what you do, it makes it
exactly.
easy. And if you believe in what you're doing, it makes it easier as well.
And you know, you mentioned the variety of clients that I have, and it's absolutely true that I really thrive on that because it gives you something new to think about all the time. I'm always learning, I'm always evolving my skills, but there's always crossover, and knowing the local market and understanding what people need really is the core, and having those marketing skills, then you can apply them to pretty much any sector and any business that you need to.
You've just had your eyes tested.
I have.
World Vision Day.
Yes.
Big thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm a big one working in the optic industry in my other life. But looking after our eyes, going to health checks is very important. Something
really
I need to practice what I preach.
I know, and I was exactly the same. I sent out all this information for Specsavers in Marbella about World Sight Day, and then I suddenly thought, oh God, I haven't been. And the sort of the information that we were sharing was about the fact that the eyes can actually show you about other underlying health issues. And so it's not just about your vision, but about your health overall. And I think that that's a really good message, because I know that we all have, in the pandemic, we've locked down, but we've sort of locked down emotionally as well, and we've kind of thought, okay, we need to just kind of do the minimum, but we do need to make sure we're looking after our health in all aspects and not missing out on important things like
very
an eye
important,
test.
not to miss important things. For example, our United Nationalities of Marbella Summit on the 27th of October, obviously a very different setup to the last few years because of the COVID situation. In fact, we're not having an event at all. We're all just going to turn up to the harbour for lunch. Book your table now. But I think it's important to cover things as a community, which you're always also very involved in. You've got a young boy growing up here, so your interest is vested like mine. I want, Marbella's fabulous. We love living on the Costa del Sol, but to make sure that we're covering all the angles, and definitely volunteers are lacking for charity shops, and we have lots of youngsters. Maybe Lucas is still a little bit too young, but a lot of youngsters that can get involved in that. And we have this big idea of getting, for example, each school to take a charity. And then we're thinking getting the kids to see how many followers on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever they've got at the time, and then see each school how they can build that up, and maybe do some kind of competition between us.
That's a lovely idea. That would be really easy for the students. They'd love that.
And find a nice prize for the end to give them something that the winning school gets. Something, don't know what yet. This is work in progress. Come on the 27th of October from noon till 4:30. But this is, I think, kind of the main thing, is getting to cover the kids, because also it gives them something to do, a purpose, experience in working and involved with charity, which is always a good one.
And I think COVID is going to have had more of an impact on the kids than we realise yet, you know, and not going to school for so long. And so I think giving them something like that, something structured and something positive for the society and for themselves is a really important
Glad
aspect.
You like it. Running it
really
by, just running it by you.
I can do some training on social media in the schools to start it off, and then they can get some skills as well.
Exactly. So it really is, I think, so I'm glad you like it. I've got zero approval. But I think that's one of the things that we can definitely part of, from getting the kids involved with age concern and all the other things. But I think if we get them involved in building up the social media, the TikToks, there's so many. Do you TikTok?
I do not TikTok.
To talk?
I'm in my 40s now, Nicole. I'm not there. But I'm looking with interest at my son's friends, and he's 9, and they're on all of this and all of these different things. So you have to evolve with the times. I don't think TikTok has got there for my kind of clients, but it's not to say that it won't, you know. So you've got to keep looking. But I'm very much looking forward to United Nationalities and just sharing ideas and, you know, getting those. I love it because people are so community minded and so community spirit focused, and can kind of get together and just share. I can help with that, and oh, why don't we do that? And, you know, even just a small lunch like we're going to be doing this time, I think is going to have a really positive impact.
I do too, and we've got a lot of the charities coming and school principals coming, and which is important because those are the most in need at the moment. The kids and the charities that have been hit the most, and of course local businesses. This is the time to actually do more marketing than ever.
It is, and you know, I know that it's a bit of a catch-22 in recessions. I started my business in the 2008 crisis, so this is not unfamiliar to me. But what happens is the profits go down, the confidence goes down, and then people pull their marketing because they go, "Ooh, I can't waste my money on that." Whereas then that can start a spiral, which is very hard to get out of. So I'm not saying that one needs to spend loads of money on marketing at all, and I think you should be doing as much as possible yourself at this time. But, you know, I would urge the businesses to not kind of clam up and shut down, but rather get out and be proactive and believe that it's possible to get through this, because those of us that have been here since the crisis and through it and come out the other side, we know we can survive. It's possible.
It's certainly possible. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Well, I can't believe how long we've been chatting, but always very informative. And I think my big takeaway of today is the training, in the sense that I like the fact that it's not like, yes, you can do everything for people, but the fact that you also offer the ability to train them to do it for themselves. So it's not an ad infinitum expense. It's something you can just learn to do yourself.
Small businesses don't have endless budgets, so they need to be skilled, and we are absolutely there for them for that.
Wonderful. Georgina, lovely to see you again.
you,
I hope
Nicole.
it won't be so long for the next time.
No.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Hooray!
Take care. Georgina Shaw of Shaw Marketing Services.
We can change if we try. Just believe.